God is always revealing himself to us in stages because he knows that's all that we can take. He reveals himself and what he's about and what he desires of us in stages. So back in the Old Testament, he reveals himself by choosing a group of people. Not the most powerful people, not the most numerous people, but the smallest of people and the weakest of people. They were slaves. They were weak. They were ostracized. They were marginalized. These were the Jewish people, a small group of people who were slaves in Egypt. And he chose them to be his people, to enter into a relationship with him, into a covenant with him, that he would be their God and they would be his people, that he would love them, protect them, guide them, teach them, and that they would be faithful to him. So he reveals he is a God of relationship, a personal God, a God who loves, a God who cares, a God who wants closeness and faithfulness. And so that's what Moses was saying in the first reading to the people. Have you ever heard, have you ever seen from the foundation of the world any group of people who heard the voice of God and lived, and that God has chosen them and then did all these miracles and blessings and liberated them? So you must be faithful to the Lord your God because he has favored you abundantly. He's so gracious. You don't deserve this. We don't deserve this. It was all God's initiative. It was all his goodness that overflowed from his being, his love. And so that's God reveals himself that way. And then in the New Testament, Jesus reveals more about God. That he isn't just, that he is one God, and that's what Moses was saying. There's only one God, right? There's no any other gods. There's just one. The Lord is God, and he alone, and you must be faithful to him. So back then, that was really important because people were practicing polytheism, right? Many gods, different people worshiping different so-called gods. And Moses was telling his people, don't do that because there are no other gods. There is but one. So Jesus continues with that theme of one God, but he goes deeper, that this one God has three persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Because God is a relationship, because God is love, he cannot be an isolated individual. This love has to be given, it has to be received, it has to be reciprocated, right? And so therefore, God the Father loves so perfectly that his love is revealed, manifested in his Son, who is a perfect image of the Father. And the Father gives everything that he has to the Son. Love cannot be contained, it has to be given. And so the Father gives everything to the Son from all eternity. He begets the Son. Everything he has, everything that he is, he gives to the Son in love. He pours it out into the Son. The Son receives everything that the Father gives him. Everything that the Father is, he receives from the Father. And he returns that love. He gives everything back to the Father. He gives his life back to the Father. It's this perfect, self-giving, reciprocal, loving relationship between the Father and the Son. So perfect that this love between them, so intense, so powerful, it is a person. It is the Holy Spirit. St. Augustine says that God the Father is the lover, the Son is the beloved, and the Holy Spirit is love. So we can think of maybe the family as an analogy, but all analogies fall short because God is beyond our comprehension. So imagine a husband. When he marries his wife, he gives himself completely to his wife. Everything that he is, everything that he has, he gives to his wife. He gives himself to his wife. And the wife receives the husband and gives herself completely back to the husband. And this love is fruitful, is life-giving, that children come from it. Right? So that's an analogy of the Holy Trinity. So it's one family unit, one love, but three persons. The Father, the Mother, and the child. Right? And so that's what we're called to participate in, to share in God's life and His love. So in the second reading, St. Paul speaks about the Holy Spirit, that the Holy Spirit doesn't give us a spirit of slavery or fear, but gives us a spirit of adoption. Adoption into the life and family of God. To know Father as Abba. This term is a term of endearment, a term of tenderness, a term of intimacy. We don't have such a term in English. The closest may be daddy, but even daddy falls short. Right? So it's a term that says, I trust in my Father, I love my Father, I'm close to my Father. And it's the Holy Spirit, the bond of love between the Father and Son incorporates us, invites us, help us to participate and share in this relationship with the Father. And He doesn't give us a relationship of slavery, of fear, because that's the opposite. When we live in sin, we become slave to sin. We become distanced from the Father, from God. But when we live in holiness, when we live in goodness, then we really enjoy His life and His love. And then also the Holy Spirit allows us to share in this oneness with Christ, to be one with Him, to be conformed to Him, so that we truly may call God Father. And the Holy Spirit helps us to share in the suffering of Christ as well. The Holy Spirit helps us to bear our cross patiently, knowing that it conforms us to Jesus. So the Holy Spirit unites us to Jesus, help us to enter into a filial relationship with the Father, and help us to stay away from sin and live a life of holiness, to share more fully into this life and love of the Holy Trinity. So we're invited, we're given this chance, this opportunity, but it's up to us to respond. So this is an opportunity to ask yourself, how fully do I participate in the life and love of the Holy Trinity? Do I live a life of worldliness and sin and slavery and fear? Or do I live a life of goodness, holiness, and grace? And do I know God the Father? Do I know Him intimately as Father? Somebody who I can trust, somebody who I love, somebody who I have confidence in? Or is He really just some distant figure? And am I one with Jesus? Do I share in His virtues? Do I share in His cross? Or do I avoid the cross and suffering? Right. And then in the gospel reading, Jesus reveals, right? And God's love is being expanded, right? First, just the chosen people, just the Israelites. Then He expands it to the Gentiles, to the church. And now Jesus tells the disciples before His ascension that He wants them to go out to proclaim the gospel to all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. God's love cannot be kept, but it has to overflow. It has to expand. God wants to include everybody in His life and His love. So that's why Jesus commissioned us to let everybody know about the Holy Trinity and to share in His life and His love, right? Everyone is made for this reason. Everyone is created to share in the life and love of God. This is where we experience our true happiness, our true joy, and our peace and our fulfillment. But do we live there? Do we pursue this? Or do we pursue the things of the world instead? We always have a choice. Many people choose to pursue the things of the world, their own agenda, things that are fleeting, things that are passing, things that are an illusion. They think they will find happiness there, but they're always disappointed because we're made for the real deal. We're made for the eternal, the infinite, the perfect. We're made for God, and nothing else will do. And the more we participate in this love, the more we become like God, the more we realize our vocation and our potential, who we're made to be and what we're made for. And Jesus said at the end, remember, I will be with you always until the end of the age. How does he remain with us always? It's the indwelling of the Holy Trinity that he remains with us always. We forget that when we're in a state of grace, the Holy Trinity dwells in us. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit lives in us in the deepest part of our being. So God is intimately united to us. He loves us, yet we are so distracted and we don't pay attention to him and we don't spend time with him. We don't acknowledge his presence and his love and his graciousness. We pursue things that are superficial, that are temporary, that are harmful. Meanwhile, God lives in us, desires our love, our oneness, our friendship. So on this solemnity of the Holy Trinity, let us be reminded that the Holy Trinity is God's love, that he is love in abundance. He is love that is poured out. He is love that is shared. And he invites us to participate fully in this love so that we may experience his joy, his peace, and build his kingdom on earth.